On everybody, I hope everybody's doing good. It's an early Friday morning here in Virginia, Southern Virginia, and we've had some interesting weather lately. It's been rainy and kind of gloomy, but it's been a nice break from the heat. But anyway, I'm gonna make this video today explaining to you guys the breeds that I raise and why I've chosen to raise these breeds. Over the years, I've had a lot of different kinds of birds. I've had cream leg bars, white leghorns, Brahmas, barred rock, Rhode Island red, Ayam I've done the zombie chicks for a while, modern game, just all kinds of different kinds of breeds. And I've tried to dial in exactly what I wanted to do and the breeds that I needed to get me there. And I think I've settled on these that I currently have. So I'm going to explain to you the breeds I've chose to keep and raise for a while and why I've decided to go with them. But before we do that, if you have birds and raise chickens or any animals, you know you have things that you do every day, things that you do maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. You get into these little routines, just whatever works best for you. So today, before we get into what breeds I have and why, I'm going to take you through, this is about my semi-daily, every 30-day routine on all my birds out here. So let me go ahead and knock that out, and then we can get into what breeds I have and why. Well, all right, all those chores are taken care of, and I think the best way to do this is going to be to go pen by pen. So we're going to go in this pen right here first, and I'll explain to you what's in there and why they're in there. You can probably already see what's in there. A bunch of hens and a rooster, of course. But let's go in here, and I'll explain to you what's in here and why. All right, we're in this little pen here. And I don't know if you can tell or not, or if you know what you're looking at, but in here we have barred rock hens and Rhode Island red hens. And he is being bashful, but there is my Rhode Island red rooster. Now in this pen, I can get two different breeds. I can get black sex links and of course just straight run Rhode Island reds. And the reason I've chose these two for this pen, it just makes sense. In my area, people really want pullets and laying hens. So with the black sex links, I can sex them when they hatch. So I'll be able to sell pullets, day-old pullets. So I can sell them for a little bit more money because they're guaranteed pullets and they're really good egg layers. And then people also really like Rhode Island reds because they're amazing egg layers and just a good basic backyard bird. So that's why in this pen I have it set up this way, because I can get the Rhode Island red and the black sex links. Everybody loves both breeds, and for me it's just easier to sell. In your case, you might need to switch it up. You might need to do something different, but for me this works the best. And now let's move on to this pen. As you can see, these are just straight barred rocks right here. I have my rooster right there with 4 hens. I had 5, but something happened to her earlier in the year. But anyway, I like to have barred rocks around. They're good birds. They're docile. He is very sweet. He never attacks me. He never does anything. They lay a good large brown egg. And plus I can take these birds and make my own barred rocks to make my black sex links. So I like to have a flock. I've settled on this flock of barred rocks for this smaller pen, and I even have some grow outs that I've made from these for more black sex links. But I've had barred rocks for a while and I really like them. They're really docile birds. They're easy to keep. They're weather resistant as far as they don't mind the cold when it gets cold in the winter. They're just good birds. So that's what I have in here and why I have them. I will probably always have a flock of barred rocks. Barred rocks are very versatile. They're easy to sex as well once they get a few weeks old. To me anyway, some people say they can sex them at hatch. I don't like to do that, but after about 2 or 3 weeks, I can sex them then. So that's what's in here. Now let's move on to the ducks that I have and why I have them. All right, now we're to the call ducks. I like raising ducks. I like having ducks. They're really cool. I like seeing them splash in the water like they're doing right here. I like ducks. But I've had Muscovies, I've had runners. I've had a couple different kinds of like standard sized ducks, and they're just messy. I mean, there's no way around it. They're just messy. They're messy animals. So I went with the call ducks. Thank you for that. I went with the call ducks because they're smaller and I can put them in this elevated pen, and it makes life a lot easier. I mean, they're so much cleaner in these pens. Their food, their water, everything stays cleaner. So that's why I decided to go with call ducks. They sell really well. I never, ever have a problem selling their hatching eggs, the ducklings. Sometimes I grow some out and sell them full size. Never have a problem. Most of the time, as soon as I post them, they're sold. They're the easiest breed of duck, I think, to keep. And having them elevated like this in this pen just makes life 10 times easier. I'm probably going to do a little more modifications to this thing. I'm thinking about boxing in the bottom and filling it with horse bed pellets. But that'll be for a later date. But yeah, that's why I have call ducks, and that's why I settled on call ducks. They're the easiest, and doing them this way, they're the cleanest breed of duck you can have. Now, let's go to my other hoop coop over here. I got a little something different in there, and you'll find out why here in a second. All right, now we're in this other hoop coop here. And in this thing, I have a little bit of everything. And the reason for that is simple. My wife wanted pretty eggs. So in here I have some black copper Morans that lays the really dark egg. I have some olive eggers that'll lay a green egg. And that's pretty much the reason why I have this in here. Now, I do have more black copper Morans than anything over here. So if I can find me a rooster to go with these, I might start raising black copper Morans. But that's pretty much all this is. A sapphire gem in here. I have a couple random things too. This is a modern game bantam that I hatched out a while back, and she just chills in here with them. I have a couple Splash Wyandottes, a pair of Splash Wyandottes, a pair of Blue Lace Wyandottes, bantams, and this is a gold lace right here, gold lace standard Wyandotte. But that's pretty much all this little pen is. I use it as a grow out pen most of the time, but this is going to be for her pretty eggs. Pretty much all I need to do now is find some blue egg layers, and I'll have everything. I'll have, well, blue and white. I don't have any white egg layers right now, but if I can get a blue egg layer and a white egg layer, I'll have everything. I'll have all the colors then, and the wife will be happy. But yeah, that's all this is. So um, I have two more different breeds, but just in small quantities. I'll show you that here in a second. But that's all these are. Now for this little pen. It'll be hard to see, but these are blue partridge Brahmas. I used to have a big flock of them, and something got a bunch of them. So now I'm stuck with just these two. Before you say anything about the pen being too small or anything like that, I've tried getting more, and it doesn't work. They don't get along with them very well, but that's those. And then over here is my pair of Wyandotte Bantams. That's a black lace and a blue lace. And she actually just hatched out some herself. She went broody and hatched them out. And you've seen I have a couple more hens I'm going to put in here with them in that grow out pen I just showed you, but that's them. So anyways, those are the breeds that I have and I raise. It's just what makes the most sense to me. I can do barred rocks, black sex links, and Rhode Island reds. It's like I said, around here, a lot of people don't care about specialty breeds. That's why I don't really have that many fancy specialty breeds, because they just don't sell that well. What sells are good egg-laying birds, and that's what I've kind of chose to go with. Having the black sex links, like I said earlier, I can sell day-old pullets for a little bit more. And then what I normally do with the roosters, I just take them to auction, and what I get for them, I get for them. Barred rocks lay good eggs. Rhode Island reds lay good eggs. They're all just good egg layers, because that's what people around here really want. They don't care about the specialty as much. I mean, I guess you could consider, well, my Wyandotte Bantams are specialty, but having a small amount, I don't worry about selling them that much. I do sell them, and they sell easy when I do have them, but I didn't want a large quantity of specialty breeds, because like I said, they just don't sell that well around here. Same with those big Brahmas. People like the Brahmas, and I sell them easy when I do have them, but I only have one pair, so I don't hatch out that many. Reason behind that is the Brahmas take so long to mature. They're such a big bird, they take forever to mature, and a lot of people don't want to spend the time to raise a bird like that. But that's pretty much it. If there's anything else you'd like to see or have any questions about anything, just comment below, and I'll cover it on the next video.